Hey, good afternoon, my crypto trading friends. Today is Wednesday, approximately 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I wanted to bring a quick video here, mainly as to provide a bit of caution. I know there's a lot of crypto bulls that are out now, convincing everybody that this is the turning point and Bitcoin's off for a run. Not so quick. So I want to show you the case for why that is, and just provide you some hopefully valuable analytics to maybe temper your bullishness a little bit. First, we're going to talk about the news of the week, and that happens to be the news with FRC, First Republic Bank. You could call it Republican Bank, I guess, as well. So as you guys know, First Republic announced that its deposits were down 40%. Immediately after, came out with a conference which they provided this data. They did not take any questions whatsoever, and that obviously caused even more mistrust. Retailers were quick to take opportunity of this disaster and shorted FRC greatly. Of course, big banks and big money hates when you, the retailers, take money out of their pockets. So they hold the strings, and they put they press the red stop button, halted all trades on FRC due to volatility. Really, it's due to the fact that you are taking their money, and they don't like that. All right, so FRC is the news this week. This is the next bank that has failed. I have been preaching that banks will continue to fail, and I've said this all along for the last 3-4 months since Silvergate and Silicon Valley and the New York Bank, whatever that one was. It's going to continue, guys. This is not the last, all right? And you're going to hope that it's the last. It is not the last. This is all part of transition, I believe, to USDC. So we're going to continue to see these banks fail. All right, now, when banks fail, the irony is, and I say it's irony because Gary Gensler, head of the SEC, is blaming these bank failures on crypto. All right, but what are people doing when the banks fail? Every time a bank fails, Bitcoin magically goes up. All right, so Bitcoin has gone up again, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, but I also want to provide some caution here, and we're going to talk about why we should have a bit of caution, because I don't think crypto has reached its turning point at the bottom of this drawback yet. All right, first, before we begin, let's start with the dollar, and I'll show you the case for why the pullback may continue based upon the dollar chart. If I zoom in here, you can see that Bitcoin has skirted above this descending red trend line. All right, and that is bullish the dollar. Right now, that is bullish the dollar. There's no two ways about it. Of course, overall, the larger picture, you can see this very ominous head and shoulders pattern I have painted here. We are right near the neckline. We have bounced on this neckline. This neckline, believe it or not, comes all the way from 1984. I'm going to zoom out to the weekly here. We'll zoom way out, and I'm going to show you this trend line, which over here happens to be the top trend line. First pivot point was around January 1984. We hit another big collapse here in 1985 below that trend line, touched it again in 2001, 2002, and now it is providing the neckline for our large ominous head and shoulders pattern, which eventually will break, and in my opinion, guys, that spells the end of the dollar. So it's bye dollar. And we have been hearing lots of talk about how nation states are veering away from dependence on the dollar, and that is definitely going to take place, and the dollar will no longer be a dominant currency. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is, guys. There's no two ways about it. This is what the charts are showing me. This is what I hear on the news. This is what the fundamentals are. This is the way this administration is taking us. All right, so dollar short term here, we're going to bounce up to 103 before coming back down to retest that neckline, which will eventually break. But when the dollar goes up and the VIX goes up, it generally spells trouble for the broader the stock markets. All right, so here we have the VIX going up again. We are into a bit of resistance. That does not mean we won't go through it. May bounce around here for a couple days before breaking through that, and again breaking above this trend line here, which this descending triangle is no longer valid, but this trend line is, and we just broke out of this descending wedge here, so that is where we are continuing our up pattern. Should we break through this descending trend line on the top of this triangle, that will provide even more bullishness for the VIX. Bullishness for the VIX means more fear in the markets. All right, so we should be expecting this stocks to be going down, and in fact we are, and actually it's doing exactly as I have been telling you guys it's going to do all along. All right, we hit our heads on this macro uptrend, and I expect a pullback. All right, so I expect a channel to start to form here. The reason why I expect that is because I am expecting a blow off top. All right, when these banks are failing, the Fed is guaranteeing its depositors. All right, that is inflation on. It's inflation on because the only way the Fed can guarantee depositors and guarantee the banks saving is by printing more money, which costs you, the American taxpayer. So this deflates our currency and makes the dollar weaker, and that is why the charts are showing me everything that's going to be true. The dollar is going to continue to collapse. But for now, it is bullish, and the VIX is bullish. So the trend in our market should continue to the downside. Now we will probably get a little bit of a bounce here on this 50-day moving average for the next week or so before breaking through that 50-day and continuing our downward trend. We may only test this 200-day before going back up again. I have just drawn here a hypothesized channel bottom. I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm pretty good at guessing where the market is going based upon the correlation and aggregation of data that I'm seeing in the charts. And this blow off top will continue. I expect us to break the highs of November 2021 and ascend all the way to 5,500, possibly 6,000 on the US 5,000 or US 500. Sorry, S&P 500. All right, so all this price action spills over into our crypto, or should spill over into our crypto space. Let's just continue over there, and I will talk about what I'm seeing on Bitcoin and some of the altcoins. All right, so Bitcoin, really, we're back into this orange resistance area. There's no reason for me to believe that we're just going to continue on and upward like many of the analysts are now calling. This is all right, big deal. We're up into the 30,000. It hasn't broken the previous pivot high, and you can see here all we're doing is forming a descending trend line. So my pullback theory that I provided over a month ago now, started here on March 23rd. That Friday, I said we're going to pull back and retest this neckline. Still is intact. All right. I still believe we're going to pull back and retest this neckline. Where does the neckline come from? That's a cup and handle pattern, and we broke that neckline. Technically, perfect price action would provide us with a retest of that neckline. If I see that, I'm extremely bullish, and after we test this neckline, I would expect us then to break through this whole area up here of resistance and continue onwards and upwards to 36 to 40,000 before the end of the year. That is my analysis, has been all along this whole year. I continue to believe that. All right, so again, I haven't turned bullish like everyone else on TradingView and everywhere else I see. Still expecting a pullback to 25,200. That is our neckline. Bitcoin dominance kind of showing me the same thing. Now here on the dominance chart, I am seeing head and shoulders pattern. All right, so that is bullish altcoins, or it could be bullish altcoins. Doesn't necessarily mean it is bullish altcoin. It just means if Bitcoin falls, altcoins generally in this bear market have followed and exaggerated any move down. Maybe this time Bitcoin falls to a lower price, to that 25,200 mark I was discussing on the previous Bitcoin chart. And maybe altcoins hold their ground. In fact, as we go through these altcoins, I will show you the case for why that may be. So they fall to the same extent as Bitcoin and do not this time exaggerate any downward move. All right, and that would give Bitcoin dominance the reason for that crash. All right. So altcoins falling less rapidly than Bitcoin. It's in the cards for Bitcoin to retest that 25,200, and altcoins have nearly reached their bottom, but not quite. All right. So anyways, moving on to the total 2 chart, which is all of the altcoins, including Ethereum. You can see we are in this larger Adam and Eve pattern. Very bullish for altcoins. Very bullish for altcoins. And I had previously an inverse head and shoulders pattern painted here. This is what my projected neckline was. And we did break that, only we came down back below that neckline. So I erased this inverse head and shoulders pattern because that is no longer a valid formation. But that does not mean this orange area is not going to provide us resistance. You can see today that, in fact, it did provide us great resistance. We poked through that with a wick, but we did not get through that and confirm a close of this candle. In fact, this candle is a very bearish candle on the daily. So again, we could come back down and test this blue trend line, this blue trend line. This is where actually I expect us to go. Somewhere in here, converging with this 200-day moving average, is where I expect the total market cap to go before we turn bullish. All right, so not bullish yet. Now, I would change my mind if we had another candle that came up above this area of resistance, closed, and then we had another candle open and close above that. At that point, I start to turn bullish, although we do have some resistance up here. All right, so I'm cautious about making any entries right now, even with this very bullish crypto reaction to FRC crashing. All right, Ethereum is kind of showing us the same thing. Again, we broke below this channel, came back up, and actually we tested the bottom side of this channel. You can't see it there because of my arrow. If I move that arrow, you could see the wick up. Hang on 1 second, guys. Let me capture that arrow and move it real quick. And you can see we wicked there exactly. That's why I love technicals, guys, because it does show you exactly what is going on here psychologically. It's just a measurement of psychology in the market. Came up and tested that, and now that candle is also bearish. All right, so but we are on the top side of that 50-day, which provided a bounce for us. I believe we will break through that and retest this neckline on this inverse head and shoulders pattern. That is still valid on Ethereum. All right, so moving on here, what do we got here? 14 minutes. All right, so we're going to move quickly through the altcoins, and I'll show you what they're showing me. Now, I posted a couple days ago, maybe yesterday, we enter into this orange area, and that's where I would look to enter, and then I will hold it to $2.22. I didn't catch this wick down. And in fact, I'm changing my thesis on this because really what I want to see us is spend a little bit of time in that entry area accumulating. That's where I will enter. And at that point, that's where I would hold to 222, but not so quick. We entered quickly, touched it, and it was too quick. All right, I want to feel comfortable with an entry here. I want to spend some time accumulating in that area. So now the price is up here. I do expect it to come back down and maybe even break below that entry area. All right, so now I may even start to look for a better price because I didn't get the price area I was looking for the first time. So anyways, ARB is showing me we could retrace. All right, it's not, there's no indication here that we have turned bullish. And in fact, all of these charts are the same. Matic, same thing. All right, now I entered down here. When we touch this trend line, I may exit this trade, guys, and just take my profits. I'm on a 15 win streak. This would make 16 for me if I get some profit here on this trade out. And I'm actually starting to turn more bearish on Matic again, because it continues to test this trend line up, and because of what I'm seeing on the other charts. So I may exit this trade. Actually, after this video, I probably will capture my profits, get 16 wins in a row, at least for a psychological vantage. That would help me. Doji, I got to move quickly here, guys. Same thing. We've up into the area of confluence. This provides great resistance. This is a bear flag. Nothing proving to me that the bulls are out yet. Dot, same thing. Bear flag. We got resistance above us with that 50-day, on support at the 200 with dot. But you can see we crackled through that a little bit, and that made the 200-day weaker. It looks like we're coming lower. I would expect us to come down here at least. All right, XRP doing exactly as I predicted, forming this nice M pattern. I expect the continuation to come all the way down here to 42 cents. Have not changed that thesis. LTC is the bullish of all the altcoins. It's the bullish one. We are now above the 50-day, but look at this, guys. We got this big area of resistance up ahead of us again, and this is simply a bear flag. So again, could come all the way back down to retest that 200-day and ascending trend line. All right, Solana, again, these charts, I mean, it's just playing out exactly as I would expect. We hit resistance. I drew this weeks ago. All right, we're back down into the 50-day, 200-day. I still expect us to come down and retest this descending trend line. All right, so still bearish on Solana, still expecting more of a pullback. Algo down to the 16.5 cents area is what I'm expecting. ADA, bull flag, bear flag there, coming back down. I think we'll test that 200-day. Ape, bear flag again, come back down to test 350. Same thing on all these charts. Jasmy, I have this one up here just for traders who have followed me. You know, I made some good trades early on with Jasmy. You can see a larger cup and handle pattern here. All right, and then a smaller one right here. This would be the large cup, and this would be the handle. Once it breaks this neckline area, it's going to 1 penny. But until then, I still think it comes back and retests this 200-day moving average. All right, so Jasmy is looking good longer term, but for the short term, again, it's showing me a pullback is still in the cards. I've got XMR up here. This is just a big old bear flag. All right, none of these charts are showing me anything convincing that this pullback is not has completed and the bulls are here to take us higher. Right now, it's just all still showing me, and I especially look to my Bitcoin chart, still showing me that we are going to test that, retest that neckline, which would be technically sound and perfect, and that's what I'm looking forward to, at which point I grow extremely bullish. All right, so that's what I see, guys, and I just wanted to provide you all with that update, just so that you're not all getting too quick, too antsy to enter here, feeling like you're missing out on these moves up. You're not missing out on anything as far as I can see. All right, peace, y'all. Talk to you in the next video.